I'm your host, Joe Leonardo, and I'm sitting here with my co host.
Alexander Turbin.
And we're here to talk today about a couple of our favorite artists. Um, Michael Turner, who left us way too early, and the always stunning and completely amazing Mazzucchelli. Mazzucchelli.
Yep. But before we do that, let's recap people on what has transpired before. We had a poll for two comic book artists that we both really enjoy, really like, and this is the final tally as of 10 days ago. It was 37% for Rob Liefeld and 63% for Whilce Portacio. Is it Whilce or Wiles?
Wows. I think either of
Wiles.
those is fine.
Yeah, I assume so. But we had 19 votes. We're hoping to get more and more votes as we go along, as people discover the voting process and the polls and the different artists that we're going through. So that is our winner is Wallace Portacio, and so as Joe said, our next contenders are going to be Michael Turner and David Mazzucchelli.
Yeah, and whoever wins in this round will pit off against the winner of the last round.
Well, I'm thinking, do you think we should do it that way, or should we go like have 10 artists and then go through?
I don't know. I think we should probably do it like Street Fighter style or whatever and just go, round by round. But we could figure that out as we go along.
Okay.
There's no solidified way. We're just having fun comparing some of our favorite artists, really. So,
Yeah.
whatever format, I was thinking we would probably pit, whoever wins this against one another. But if you want to do 4 brackets before we do that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Also, we have to discuss like the different artists. Like I think I brought this up before. Like should we pit Marvel and DC artists versus indie artists?
I think could be whatever we want. You know what I mean? Like just people who are
Right.
proficiently and similar, like
Right, but is that really fair to have? And also, there's also the whether or not they're humor artists. Like, are you going to put an R. Crumb versus Jim Lee?
well, that's what I mean. I think we should always keep things appropriately aligned. You know what I mean? So we're
Yeah,
gonna do,
yeah,
like Sunday artists. It would be like, Bill Waters versus Charles Schultz or something like that.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, like
yeah,
stick to
yeah,
that kind of thing or whatever. Like, and comic book guys for comic book guys and that kind of thing. If we want to
yeah,
do Sunday, strips, it should be Sunday strip guys versus other Sunday strip guys,
yeah,
and just
yeah,
probably
yeah,
categorize it like that kind of thing.
yeah.
You're not
It's
gonna,
definitely
it's
something to
not
think
gonna
about.
be like Dan Cloud versus, you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
Rob
yeah.
Liefeld or something,
Yeah,
like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I mean, we should at some point have some sort of poll, but then you have people that enjoy one type of art more than the other type of art. So it doesn't really, I don't know, match up. So I don't know what we should do really.
well,
I think
we'll
we
work
should
on that. We're gonna
mull it
work
out.
on the side, people, and I'm super stoked for everybody that's tuning in right now. I see we have like 9 people online. Uber just dropped down to 6, but that's okay. Super cool. All these are really meant to be watched later on. We're making these live, and we really appreciate everyone who joins us live. But we really
Yep.
appreciate you guys sitting around and watching the videos later on. And we're gonna get right down to it because we know everyone's here to look at some cool comics. You got some cool Mazzucchelli stuff over there you want to put up?
I do in 1 second. Um, I'm going to put so that's what is that? Witchblade number?
Yeah, this is the collected edition of Witchblade. So it's got, 10, 15 issues in here or something like that.
Yeah. I also have little biographies of each of them. If we want to go through that, like
For sure.
we want to
I
start with.
just kind of threw down on, Michael Turner real quick and saw that he was like, boy, he was 38 when he passed away. It was a
Yeah,
bummer,
that's way too
That's
early.
young. I mean, there's worse, Nick Manabat, I think he was only 22 when he passed away.
Yeah,
And both
yeah.
those guys passed away of um
Some kind of
cancer
cancer.
or whatever. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not sure exactly what Nick Manabat had, but I know that Turner passed away from bone cancer, I believe it was.
yeah, yeah.
And that's always a
So
bummer,
I just
man.
have a little biographies here and I'll read both of them, and then we can get into the discussion of them. Michael Lane Turner was born in April 1971, so pretty much same age as me. Was an American comic artist known for his work on Witchblade, Fathom, Superman, Batman, Soulfire, and various covers for DC Comics and Marvel Comics. He was also the president of entertainment company Aspen MLT. I know that he was also discovered by Silvestri at a convention.
Yeah, he's one of the he's one of those marquee guys like we talked about last time. One of the dudes where they kind of came in and were more popular than the senpai that taught them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then David John Mazzucchelli was born in September 21st, 1960, is an American comics artist and writer known for his work on seminal superhero comic book storylines Daredevil, Born Again, and Batman Year One, as well as for graphic novels in other genres such as Asterios, Polyp, and City of Glass. The graphic novel he is also an the graphic novel. He's also an instructor who teaches comic book storytelling at the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan. And he actually went to the School of Visual Arts.
Wow, I
Which is
didn't
pretty
realize he
cool.
was that old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, he was doing comics back in the 80. I mean, his first Daredevil, his first work was um, Master of Kung Fu in I can't remember what issue it was, but I mean that was pretty far back there. But let's get into the Michael Turner stuff first.
Okay. Um, Obviously, this is Michael Turner's seminal piece of work, in my opinion. Now, I know he's done a handful of things that he's really well known for, like the Superman,
Batman, yeah.
Batman, yeah, with the Supergirl thing or whatever, and that's really like very well renowned. I know it is, and it's beautiful work. I've seen it a handful of times, but I don't own that particular material, though I am trying to get my hands on that at some point. But this is Witchblade, and this was like, I mean, Michael just came out of the gate so hard. I believe his first piece of work was the Wetworks Ballistic crossover for Top Cow, and
So what number is that? What number Witchblade
this
is that?
is number one. This would be Witchblade
That's
number one right here.
oh, oh, and he did Witchblade number one?
Yeah, he did the first, I want to say like 20 issues or something like that, before,
Huh.
he did the first full run of it, of the story, like he completes the first full story arc. It might be 10 or 15 issues or something like that.
But that was written by Silvestri?
It
Was it
is
was it
plotted
created
by,
by
no,
Silvestri?
no, it says it's scripted by David Wohl and Christina Z. The plot is from
Oh.
David Wohl, Christina Z, and Brian Haberlin.
Oh, so I was under the impression that Witchblade was created by Silvestri.
I believe it is created by him. Let's see, it doesn't have created by credit. It just says
Huh.
plot, script, pencils and code, plot, Michael Turner, inks, D-Tron, computer colors, Jonathan D. Smith, letters, and then Team Tron, which is the color team. No, it doesn't have a created by, but I'm pretty sure it is a created by Mark Silvestri product.
Yeah, it look. I mean, he does all the covers, right? Doesn't Silvestri do the covers?
No, this is Michael Turner on
Huh.
the cover right here. And I believe Michael Turner did all the covers, you know what I mean? But he was just so
Huh.
strong at that point already that I think he could just own it, you know what I mean? I
Right,
wouldn't, I
right.
wouldn't, I wouldn't doubt that probably Sylvester came in and did a cover here or there. I'm not 100% on that, you know what I mean? But I'm sure he probably
Yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah.
But their work is very
So
similar,
that's
you know.
that's Witchblade though is probably Image's second best known, or would you say, or third best known
I
thing?
honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, it's definitely um Top Cow's probably best known thing, as far as the
Yeah,
Top Cow studio goes.
yeah.
Like I would think it would probably be hey, what's up there, GTO Phase? It's good to see you, bro. Hi, how are you
Mhm.
doing today? Thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate seeing you. And thanks for everybody watching, and thanks for the 2 thumbs up that people have given. But
Yeah, we appreciate it.
yeah. I'm sorry, what were you saying, Alex?
I was just thinking that maybe Witchblade was Image's best well-known
I
property.
want to say probably, in my opinion, it might be Spawn or someone like that.
Well, I'm thinking second best, the second well-known,
But
because
I mean,
obviously Spawn.
because it has a film. It might be the only
Right.
Image show that has a film. But I know
Right.
Witchblade had a very low budget TV show for a minute there,
Yeah, yeah, they did.
and they think they also did an anime.
It could be. I don't remember any kind of cartoon, but it's totally possible.
Yeah, I think there was. There's like it's a it's not a real big budget thing or whatever, but like I
Yeah.
recall playing somewhere in some format, and stopping to look at it and not being anywhere impressed or anything. It was some real 90s looking kind of stuff or whatever, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like along the lines of like if you ever saw what Savage Dragon looked like on USA, like when it had a cartoon,
Right. Yeah,
like
right.
really, crappy stuff. But nevertheless, we're gonna get down on some Michael Turner here, and I mean, as you can see, I'm hoping my camera is staying focused here.
Yeah, no, it's
Um,
pretty good. I see it.
uh,
And no, not
his
too much glare.
level of detail that he's able to achieve, just right off the back is it's a pretty stunning level. His work it's very inspiring, and then when you add that to the amazing looking colors that we're talking about, I mean, look at the like chandelier, like all the sparkles on the chandelier, that they
Who
did right
who's
there.
inking who's inking him again
That
on
is
this?
Detron. Detron is inking this,
Oh,
and
that's a
he was
person, Detron. I thought that
yeah.
was like a
Well, Detron, I think is actually might be a team. Yeah. So it's a whole group of dudes, but they're all. It looks like they're all really just doing their very best. Scott Williams, you know what I mean? But
right.
we got
Yeah.
Viet
Yeah.
Trong, Jose Gillian, John Dorito, Larry Welch, and Nathan Cabrera. And that looks like that's Team Tron, and the inks are by D Tron. Which I always thought that was a person. Like you're just making me aware of that right now. That's actually a team of dudes. I always
Yeah.
thought D
Yeah.
Tron
Kind of
was
like
somebody's name, like Bat or whatever. You know what I mean?
right. Right. And they're the inkers. Like
Yeah.
in this, he I think he inks it because whenever they put just artist, I think that usually means that they ink it too. So, huh.
Well, I was gonna say I don't think Michael Turner has ever inked any of his own stuff in a comic book. I would
Well, out
love
of
to.
this is him inking.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay.
I
Well,
believe
you know
so.
what? Like the one I saw, the version of that I actually saw was it was only in pencil. It
Huh.
wasn't inked at all. So I think you
Right.
might actually just be looking at the pencils colored.
Well, it has I don't know. It totally could be. It just has artist. It just has artist Michael Turner. So
Yeah,
usually
because
when
like
they just say artist, it means that they pencil and inked it.
yeah, dude, because like I know like there's some like there, I'm not sure who was like who colored that.
Um Wait 1 second. It's Peter Stiegwalder. Waldo.
Huh.
Steigerwald.
Because like there's some really cool darknesses that Del Keown did.
Yeah, yeah,
And they're only in pencil, like they're not inked at all, they're just
yeah,
pencils, but they're
yeah,
colored. And like they put some sort of treatment on it, like they're doing something to it, they're doing some sort of like digital darkening to the pencils or whatever, you know what I mean? like
right, right,
like they're
right.
not inking it per se, but they're doing some sort of treatment to it, like in Photoshop, to darken everything and clean it all up as much as it can be. And then the
Yeah,
colorist comes in and does these very light, beautiful, like airbrushy kind of colors on top of it, and it's stunning looking stuff. And I'm guessing maybe
yeah.
that's kind of what they did on that, something like that on that Superman Batman you're looking at over there.
Could be. Could very well be.
Super cool. Yeah,
But
it always blows me away when a person can, because like say my pencils, like they're pretty light, and it's like, I it's like I would love to be able to, do something like that someday where you just color right on top of the pencils. But I guess like you would have to really go in and darken the heck out of these things or whatever, you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like really
yeah,
blacken in those black spots. And that's a pain in the butt when you're penciling, because the
yeah,
graphite
or
gets everywhere. Smudges the
yeah,
more darker you do it, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, and then especially if you're ever going to ink it, then it's almost impossible. You have to do a blue line because the graphite creates a layer between the ink and the paper almost, you know what I
right,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
I
you
know.
go too heavy with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like this is the kind of thing, I mean, that you come to Michael Turner for right here, and just like boom, look at that booty right there, dude. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like So cool. And look how action packed that whole sequence is. And as a matter of fact, like I cribbed this moment right here in Six Lords of Sound. Like,
Oh yeah, the
you know what I'm
silhouette
talking
fight.
about? Yeah.
Yeah.
In that one little scene with Frostbite or whatever, like, and she's like jumping and leaping, like I totally cribbed that right there, like, because that was so
I
cool.
wonder I wonder if that was he did that as an artistic way of doing it, or whether he was short on time and had to kind of you know, skimp a
I
little bit.
I personally think that like the silhouettes work rad on the page when you do them right, and like people who
Oh
do them
yeah.
well, you know what I mean. Like it helps. Like I mean, like look at that. That's so cool, dude. Like that little shot of the eye right there. Like I live
Yeah.
and breathe that kind of stuff, dude. Like I'm so about like the little eye close ups and stuff. Like I can't hardly ever do anything without at least throwing one of those down. But
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think that like when you do the silhouettes right, like you know what I mean, it
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
be a regular edition of like almost every page you do. Silhouette right here. We have another set of silhouettes like right
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Yeah.
and Jim Lee is really, Jim Lee is like all about that too. Like he's a big silhouette guy. Like,
Yeah. So
and
so is
so is like,
McFarlane.
yeah, so is Joe Mad. Like.
Yeah.
Joe Maduro, he does a lot of silhouettes on almost every single page. And when you really know how to line them up and put them in the right places, you know what I mean? I think the silhouettes look amazing.
Oh
But
yeah, they certainly do. But they also are like if you've got a time crunch, they're also a way of alleviating that time. It's kind of like McFarlane is known for that Batman Year One cover where he doesn't show Batman's body; it's all cape, and he was like, I just had to get it done.
yeah, that's funny because like they made a figure of that or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everybody loves it. So I'm not saying that that time crunch thing is always a bad thing. Sometimes the best stuff comes out of working quickly and making those kind of decisions.
But you can see like right here, I mean, absolutely, Alex, you're 100% right, because sometimes you're just trying to get the page done and get it out, but also deliver something that's appeases your ability to say, I put my back into this at the very
Yeah,
least, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, but well, we're running out of time fast because me and you blabber away because we're just like that. But I just want to blast through some of these amazing, and you can see like this is the kind of stuff like I'm super influenced by this guy, dude. Like you can see in my
Yeah,
double spreads, you know what I mean? That there's a part of me that's always trying to like, reach that apex of being like telling a really because I mean, look at it, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 7 panels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels. You know what I mean? He's doing a lot of storytelling, and he's also just drawing page after page after page of just beautiful, beautiful stuff. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
just,
yeah.
just he's really bringing it. But I mean, some of these are, I mean, look, that's clearly Chow Yun Fat from,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know,
That
from what is it?
that is the hardest pose for me to do. I always want to move the gun. Like I'm going to have the gun pointing right at him, and I'm like, you can't. Can you tell that's a gun? Are you sure that's
Right.
a gun?
Sure.
I need more information.
Well,
And
that's
then sometimes
clearly
I
from a
puss out.
photograph. You know what I mean? Like that's for
Could be.
sure. It definitely is. That's from Hard Boiled. Like that's a
Yeah,
scene from Hard Boiled
yeah,
right there. Like
yeah,
for sure. But like this was one that really blew me away right here. Like this whole sequence where it's like boom, he's like reaching for his sword. Here's the guy, in the car, he's gunning it at him. Close up, close up. We see him like take care of the other dude. Boom, he's drawing the sword out of the corpse. We see the corpse. The car is bearing down on him back here. And then we see a close up, the leg with the car coming, and then a classic, super close up of the eye there, you know what I mean? Just
yeah,
looking
yeah.
so super cool, and then he just like draws the sword, leaps into the air, and then we get boom, we get this thing right here, just like this like cuts through the car,
Oh yeah, that's
whatever,
awesome.
that all the the broken freaking windshield right there, dude. Like man, dude brings it, you know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay, let me just show one more of these things before I blast away to look at Mazzucchelli. Okay, look at this one right here. You know, check that out, you guys. You know what I mean? Like that's just like
That's
those are
not
all.
darkness, is it?
No, this is he's like an assassin that's there to like sort of romance the Witchblade out from underneath her because the Witchblade is
Right,
a magical gauntlet. You know what I mean? That gives its
right.
wielder like invulnerability and like superpower and all that stuff. And that dude is trying to wield it. Like that guy is the, you know, he's the minion of the. I mean, look at that. Just look at even the coloring on that is so cool. I mean, just amazing. But he's a minion of, you know, some dude who's trying to wield the Witchblade and get it from her. Like it was supposed to.
Yeah,
He was doing some sort of yeah, see, because they're showing all the covers. They're all Michael Turners. Like every one of these is a Michael Turner. You
huh,
know what I mean? Like
yeah,
because that, you know what I mean? They have the covers featured on the inside before the issues change. Look at that,
yeah. Working big is hard like that.
dude. Like, look at that, man. Like, dude. All right, you want to go ahead and bust out some Mazzucchelli now that I've like, you know, blown up my
Yep,
Michael Turner over here?
yep. Well, hey, you
As
can never
you're,
get too much. Can never get
as you're
too much Michael Turner.
going through
Um,
your stuff there, I'll just kind of keep looking through these because there's one more I want to show everybody. But go ahead and start on the Mazzucchelli stuff.
well, this is the first Daredevil Mazzucchelli, and one of the things that we've discussed is whether an artist is benefiting too much or not enough from a really well known or really competent writer, and I'm so torn by that because a great comic book artist will make a good writer better, a great writer awesome, and an awesome writer stellar. So I think it kind of works both ways where an artist and writers can feed off of each other, and that's why Frank Miller, he's got so many fantastic stellar artists that he's worked with, and obviously he's a great writer, but it just kind of goes both ways. But I think that's one of the things that we're going to have to look at, especially because I mean, you voted in the poll, right?
Well, yeah, I did. You know what?
Yeah,
The only
me
thing I
too.
would say about that, like what you just said, was like there are exceptions to that rule. And I mean, when you look at like, say, I know I like okay, so like I love the art in Batman Robin All Star, but that
Yeah,
book is
yeah,
reviled by people. People can't stand the
yeah,
writing in it.
yeah,
People can't
yeah,
stand that book. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
people don't like no matter how good the art is, it doesn't, you know, break away. I mean, look at that. It doesn't break away from the fact that you know, people hate Jim Lee and Frank Miller's version of that
yeah,
together. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like everybody's always liked Frank Miller's kind of like Mickey Spillane style, whatever, like, you know, Mike Hammer kind of like writing that he's always done. You know what I mean? Because he's always sort of imitated like, um, man, look at that. He's always imitated the detective writers, kind of, you know, the
yeah,
noir sort of especially in like stuff like Sin City. You know, he's not even imitating it. He's just straight up ripping them off. I mean, look at that. That's
yeah,
one of the
yeah,
ones I really want to show. That one blows me away right there.
yeah.
But
Another close up. That's difficult.
yeah, it's just gorgeous. But you know
Wow.
what I mean? Like I know people hate that book. You know what I mean? And the
Right,
art of it
right,
is
right.
gorgeous. You know,
Yeah,
so you can't
yeah,
hardly. You know, it's hard to know why people despise it so much, other than the fact that they just like. I don't know. Like people just don't like it at all. Like I've never seen one review where people was like, "Oh, this was so good. I love the writing," or what. You know what I mean? Like they didn't
yeah,
even finish
yeah.
the book.
Yeah, yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, Frank Miller is I mean, he's a crazy dude. He's got the greatest, possibly the greatest comic book in history in Dark Knight Returns, and then like you said, he has the All-Star stuff. And then but then he also has Dark Knight Returns 2, which is I know the cartoonist kayfabe guys went through it and they were like saying how good it is, at first they thought it was trash and then they liked it and stuff. I still think it's trash, but um it's just so, and I really didn't like his RoboCop stuff, and he was doing that with Walter Simonson, who is my ultimate favorite artist. So you're right. not everybody's perfect, and people are going to have good things and bad things.
Yeah, I say
Every
you can
art,
line the three best people up, and you never know. You still might get something that people don't like. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Chris Claremont is one of my favorite writers of all time, and yet he's done a lot of stuff that I just do not like, do not enjoy at all. So, I mean, it's 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 weird, but also, I mean, that's what I mean. A comic book is both the art and the writing,
Start paging
coming
through that.
together.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, dude. Like,
No,
but
go
start
ahead.
paging through that Daredevil while you're talking. Just start,
Okay.
like
Well,
leafing
all
through
right.
it for
Well,
me.
well,
Go ahead
this
and
is
finish
his
your
first.
thoughts. Like, I don't mean to interrupt you from your train of thought, but I'm just saying, like, as you're speaking, just kind of, open the book up and
Yeah.
let's start.
Yeah.
Let us start looking at it.
Well, here's the thing is, this is completely relevant because he starts doing Daredevil in, issue 206, and, this is I don't know why I have it, but he has a different inker. He's got an inker by, Danny Bolandato, and, I mean, you can tell this is Mazzucchelli. Mazzucchelli, he's got these fantastic figures, and he is, gritty and, grimy. He's the perfect Daredevil and or Batman artist. He's just completely gritty and grimy, and his action sequences are so fantastic. But it really is the inker. Like I'll look at something else in a second, but the fact that he's not known for this stuff, he's not known for issue 206. Nobody cares about that. Written by Denny O'Neil and stuff, and he's not known for it. People don't think it's the greatest stuff, but there's also some stuff like he. The one thing that is different about Dave Mazzucchelli from Michael Turner or a bunch of the Image guys is he can slow down. He slows down the action, and he's a subtle artist. So he's not always in your face, lots of action. He can do it, but like this scene here where Kingpin is just kind of looking at whatever, and then he just lights up his cigar. It's just um, bringing the comic book medium up to a higher standard.
Yeah, too. Like you could see that. Like looking at the art right there, you could see he's coming from, that old school John Romita, thing or whatever, like,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that was the sort of house style that he's coming from. And it's literally like, it might be, it's guys like um, George Perez, and Neil Adams that kind of like slowly push it away from that John Romita senior, and who's the other guy? Like Gene Colan and
yeah,
Buscema, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
those are the dudes
Buscema.
that are ruling right before that, those, and then after that, it's like here comes Arthur Adams, and then here comes Arthur Adams is looking at what's his name over there on the Nom, I'm talking about
Oh yeah,
Golden,
Michael Golden.
Michael
Yeah,
Golden, yeah, and those are like the those like sort of make up the newer styles. But you can see like he's coming from that older style of like that John Romita Buscema time or whatever. But then like
right,
instantly he like you can see he's channeling the Frank Miller thing. You know what I mean? Like he
right.
sees what
Yeah,
Frank Miller
yeah,
is
yeah,
doing, instantly starts to channel that into his work. So it's has that it's you can see it's at a crux. You know what I mean? Like it looks like it's
yeah,
leaving one thing behind and slowly turning into something else, like, and what it's going to turn into by the time he's like on year one, like Batman year one, he's become so highly accurate, and so rendering form and
right,
those guys
right.
that can draw all that stuff in one little square, which is something like I've never done before. And I keep wanting to challenge myself as like, I've never done like a 6-panel grid comic book
Yeah,
or like a
I've
nine
never
panel grid.
I've never even considered it. I've never. Uh, I feel like that's for people trying to really pack in a lot of story. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I
there's
just
nothing
never
wrong with it.
done
I
it.
mean, Dark Knight Returns is full of it, but
It's yeah, it's like
I just
9
have
panels and stuff.
I've never really had the inclination to do it. But then see here's the thing when you guys are voting about an artist is that you can't just think about their first works or either their middle works, and you have to think about how much stuff they've done. Like I'm sure I bet Michael Turner and Mazzucchelli maybe have done almost the same amount of work, even though Michael Turner died, because Mazzucchelli kind of left comic books, or he left superheroes rather,
Yeah.
after year one, and then he just started doing some graphic novels and stuff. But this here is the beginning of, I think it's the beginning of, no, it's not the beginning, but it's the part of the Born Again storyline. Have you ever read these?
No, I haven't. No.
You really should pick up the graphic novel, the trade paperback of this. This is like comic books at its very, very best. The writing and the art just goes together like, and it's not just something, it's something you think about later on. It's not like, you're not just seeing cool action and a cool story and stuff like that. You think about this later on when you're, washing dishes or whatever you're doing. It's something that sticks in your brain, and you kind of think about all of the things that they're doing in it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that sounds
So this
awesome. I definitely need to look into that. Like, I have to, yeah, if I can't find it to me, I'll just have to like order it like off Amazon or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. And this is Mazzucchelli inking himself, and that's another thing people should consider before they vote or when they're voting, is at the career of the artist or the penciler, and who they're being inked by, because some people get inked by somebody and it's completely different and really not as good often, but then they
Oh,
they
yeah,
ink
for
themselves
sure.
and they're amazing, stuff like that, or whatever.
Nobody,
So
nobody
I think
inks
there's a
Walt.
lot of things.
I say
What's that?
nobody inks Walt Simonson as good as Walt Simonson. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no,
no one
no,
inks
nobody could.
Sienkiewicz as good as Sienkiewicz. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. But like, I mean, you have these pages, and this isn't, this is Frank Miller working together very closely with Mazzucchelli. He's not just giving him a script or whatever. It can't be. It can't be. It's got to be, conversations and telephone calls and stuff like that, because
right.
you've got this scene where it's just his face super close up, and then he's having this flashback, obviously, to when he becomes Daredevil, and then, because this is after, spoiler alert, this is after Kingpin learns who Daredevil is. So do you know any of the storyline behind this?
I'm familiar with it. Yeah. I tell you
Where
what, I'm super excited to see the freaking Disney
y-
show next month.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm really hoping that they um really go with this, but I don't think some of it they're going to, because in this, Karen Page becomes a heroin addict, and that's how the Kingpin learns that Matt Murdock is Daredevil.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember that. I remember that.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Worth
Her character was always pretty close to that in the Netflix thing. You know what I mean? Like, she was always like on
worst
the verge of losing
Worst
it.
girlfriend ever.
Right?
Worst girlfriend ever. I don't know. Dark Phoenix, Karen Page, they're both really, really up there. But I love how, and this happens in all of the books. So it's like we've been saying, is that it's not just the writer, it's not just the artist, it's them being together, because you've got this close up, and then it pans out and then pans out. So, and then it keeps panning out while things are going on in the background. And then you have this fantastic scene of where he's lying in the trash. And he has just like come from the Potomac River. I think it's the Potomac River. Is that the river in New York City? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, he comes out of that when the Kingpin thinks he's got him, he's killed and stuff, but he like claws his way out of that, and just makes his way into an alleyway, and he's just like sleeping there. All of these begin with him, like the very first story is him in his bed, and then he just like gets worse and worse, like, and then he ends up in this scummy motel, and then he's lying on the street like here. So it begins all in different aspects of him beginning his day, or beginning his journey. So
Did you ever notice? I'm not sorry to be interrupt, but did
no,
you ever
no, go
notice
ahead.
that that's the same exact like Jim Lee cribbed that shot right there for
I'm sure. I mean,
Wildcats.
I'm sure
Wildcats
it's
one. Do you have
it's
all?
such.
It's
I
Lord
do
M.
have all the Wildcats.
Yeah,
I'll
it's
have to check
Lord
that out.
M. Like laying in a filthy alley. If you'll recall, he's laying in a filthy
Oh yeah,
alley, and there's a
yeah.
bunch of garbage all around. And like right off to the left of him is there's a box of like X-Men issue 1 comics, that have been thrown out into the trash because I mean, there's 8 million of them sold, and they're sitting in boxes everywhere or whatever. But that's
Yeah.
funny. Like, I never. realize that Jim Lee cribbed that from that, you know what I mean?
Oh,
But he
oh
clearly
yeah.
did.
I'm sure. I mean, this is one of the most popular or notable comic book stories of all time. I'm sure. But just the action and the movement that he has is just so amazing, and that's what we're always talking about is a lot of action and movement and stuff. But another thing is that his style. Especially when he inks himself, and but it gets so he simplifies so much. Like, look at this trench coat. There's only some black ink work and a few lines, and yet it's so detailed. It's like detailed, but not detailed at the exact same time. You know
Yeah,
exactly
that's
what it
some
is.
fast brush
You
work.
know,
That's some fast brush, just getting in there, you know, and got that language just dialed in, just knows exactly
yeah,
what he's
yeah.
doing.
Yeah, and he gets simpler and simpler. Year one is super simple, and then the work that he does after that, Rubber Blanket, and even after that, the other graphic novels that he does are it's very simple. It's kind of like how Frank Miller um, went from his more detailed stuff in Ronin to less detailed in Dark Knight, and then even less detailed in Sin City.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, you guys. Well, that's us, and we're probably going to wrap it up now. We've hit our 5 minute mark, and we want to try and keep these a little short for you guys, so you guys can get a chance to see through the whole thing. And everybody who does sit through these videos to the very end, thank you very much, because you're really helping us to put these videos out through the algorithm to other interested comic people who might see these and watch them. So thank you very much for coming in. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it so much. Be sure to hook your phone up and come by the actual YouTube channel. There's going to be there's going to be a little tab up there for you to cast your vote on who you thought was better. And once again, Alex and I are just really grateful to have you guys here. And this is Comic Books from Coast to Coast with East Coast Alice and West Coast Joe. I'm Joe Leonardo, creator of Six Lords of Sound. Super cool, awesome heavy metal comic book, Jim Starlin style superhero heavy metal musicians in space having rad adventures. If you'd like to get a copy of this, you just direct message me on my Instagram at Awfully World on Instagram, all one word, AWFULLYWORLD. Go ahead, Alex.
And I'm Alex Turbin, and I will be going over more Daredevil and Born Again and stuff like that. I'll probably be going through each individual issue on my own. It's just such a seminal work that it's hard not to. But
Yeah,
I
and
have since
if I get the graphic novel, I'll start joining you on those too, you know,
yeah,
and we'll
yeah,
start going
yeah,
over those
definitely.
together.
And also I want to go over year one too. I mean, those two things are. It's so amazing that year one is a cartoon movie by DC, and the Superman Batman with the Supergirl is a cartoon. All of these awesome storylines are cartoons from DC. But what's Marvel doing? Why isn't Born Again?
And they're owned by Disney. You'd think they'd be
Yeah,
like cranking out rad animated
yeah,
films about their
yeah,
work and
yeah.
stuff, but they're not. I know. I don't know what's going on with that. But I
It's
also have the year one stuff. So when you're ready to do Batman year one, we'll sit down together and we'll go
yeah,
over
yep,
that. We'll do it over like a handful of videos. You know what I mean? And really
yeah,
comprehensively
yeah.
cover each issue.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. But I do Random Access. It's a full size, full color comic book that I produce every month. And you can get these at patreon.com/Alexander Turbin, or you could go to my website and pick up all kinds of other stuff. The Random Access is at my website, alexanderturbin.com. But there's also Mutandis, Death Knights, Cyrene, The Forlorn, all kinds of different stuff that I've done over my comic book making career. You can find them there. Or you can message me at alexturbin04401 at yahoo.com, which is my email.
Sounds good. All right, Alex, you tell them what's going on.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. And as always, keep on creating.